that's what I said in one of our last videos. Is that a lot of therapists do not want to do the massive amount of paperwork that is required to continue to be or to go onto the insurance panels. Now, of course, there is a great benefit for therapists that are going into practice to get onto the insurance panels because you are in an immediate in an immediate list of providers who take that person's insurance. And so you can go onto your insurance, find a doctor, find a therapist, whatever your insurance company has set up, and all the names and locations will pop up in terms of what providers are in your network.
Right. And that's nice. I mean, you can build your practice up very quickly that way.
You can. Once you go through the credentialing process, which can
Once
take
you're on that,
months.
yeah.
You know, that's just people that are starting off. There are a lot of benefits for the provider and for the client,
right,
or the subscriber of that insurance, particular insurance, whatever it is. But it can take months to get through that credentialing process. And I'm not going to say, sometimes it's 2 to maybe 4 months to get through that process of being approved, because a lot of screening and a backlog of you know, the people from the insurance company having to go through getting these providers credentialed.
And then on top of that, there's a whole nother way of budgeting, you know, and looking at payment, you know, from month to month. You know, you don't get paid instantly as a therapist from the insurance company.
There are some insurance companies that I can look at reimbursement the next week. There are others that I have to look at, and if you're doing electronic billing, and that's about the only way to go now. Some people still do some paper billing, but that could take a turnaround time of 4 to 6 weeks from the time you see the client until the time that it would get reimbursed if you did paper billing. And insurance companies are strongly discouraging, if even allowing it anymore.
Right.
And that's how people used to have to bill all the time. There can be a turnaround. It just depends on the insurance company. 2 weeks is often, with electronic billing, is often the turnaround for most.
And so if you're starting a private practice, that takes momentum and time.
It takes momentum and time to build that up. Yes.
But if you're self-pay, it also takes momentum and time to get clients in, to get a caseload. It takes a little bit longer time to get a caseload. But once you have that caseload, it's just like rolling with insurance company, and you know, you'll have a steady income.
And so we've most of this discussion has been from the perspective of providers, and there's a lot of depth that we could go into, but from the perspective of clients as to how to make that choice, it is going to, number one, be a matter of preference. And will that therapist work with you if you have a person that you really connect with that is private pay only? And if that is, and you know, you talked a lot about how you will work with a person because that's what you do, that's what you're willing to do, and whereas a lot of therapists don't have the time, or are possibly in a practice where they're pressed for time.
Yeah.
that they're expected to see so many clients within a given day. Um, that's all, just dependent on that. But there are benefits both ways, because there are a lot of people that do not want to use their insurance. They don't want that diagnosis
That's right.
attached. And
Because it stays with you through that insurance company.
it stays with you. And for those of us that are on insurance panels that are credentialed with insurance and we have a contractual agreement, our fees have to be the same across the board. And we do have to render a diagnosis before we can bill the insurance company. And, that's just something that people do need to know. And these things can be of benefit depending on where you're at and what your needs are in your life, or they can be a not so good thing for you if you're in the middle of a nasty divorce, for example.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Unfortunately, depending on where you live, depending on the culture of your area, depending on many avenues, mental health is viewed as a stigma.